Do you know you can get fresh and affordable African groceries from anywhere in the world? I know most times you order online and what you see isn't always what you get. Not on AfricanGroceryShop.com. AfricanGroceryShop.com empowers you to buy and sell fresh African groceries to any part of the world online. Avoid all forms of stress. African Grocery Shop is new, reliable, authentic, affordable, and fresh. Visit www.africangroceryshop.com now to start buying and selling. Secure shopping and fast shipping guaranteed.
Yeah, abusuya. Okay, abusuya, real quick. Mama yensuya de kakra. Mesra se unyadrene ya bomode na share na like it. And keep your comments coming. Yensuya de kakra. Roberto Mari Mwakwa will say hello everyone. Hello to you too. Medasi Bibri. Abusuya na meka will say so Android phone ako Play Store. Now download the confirm drop any OGB right. So iPhone so do the same thing. These two applications, no, so here taxi bookings are no a bit me about, and they are made by Ghanaians. What you are saying, Timestre said, support made in Ghana goods and promote made in Ghana services. Is as simple as that. NS be GH or say more fire, more fire, more fire, bro. Thank you so much, Roberto Maribium. That medase bibre and Joyce Boma won so medase young money. Thank you so much, medase. Mesre unya baso an bomode na share na like it and keep your comments coming. Busia for yensua de kakra. Sabu inamu ni Biya. Biya unie oye the president for Cameroon. Cameroon ufri Nigeria now ko Cameroon. It was Central Africa. Biya is the president of Cameroon. And this guy has been the president of Cameroon since the year 1982. Now, say he has been in power for the past 40 years. 40 years in power. And he is currently 89 years. See, I'm in say, we're 89 years, Biya. Or yet, the president for Cameroon. This guy has been in power for the past 40 years as president of Cameroon. And Bamini Kanka will say, this is the current state of Cameroon. This is their capital, Yaoundé. Or more capital city near Yaoundé. For over 40 years that this guy has been the president. This is the capital Yaoundé. Cameroon, oh hiana e oho no Ghana cry. The level of poverty in Cameroon, even Ghana, is better. For the past 40 years, this guy has been the president of Cameroon. And this is the nature of their capital. So just imagine the small towns and villages. This is the capital Yaoundé, where Biya has been the president for the past 40 years. In the capital in Yaoundé, Cameroon. This is the capital. And this guy has been the president, may say, for the past 40 years. He is 89 years of age as we speak. He has been the president of Cameroon for the past 40 years. All right, mami, another photo crown chirabo. Maybe money and the this is the capital of Cameroon, Yaoundé. Yaoundé, where this guy has been the president for the past 40 years. This is the nature of the, they say, where your capital city, and your town, and your village. This is their capital city, Yaoundé. For 40 good years, that Biya has been in power. This is the nature of their capital city, Yaoundé. All right. Now, video be a trago on social media. Near say, Sa Biya this year na we have 40 years in power. And I say 40 years in office. And until or France, Paris say, Okodi ne 40 years in power anniversary. Muntie ni America shop ni. Video be trago on social media. This year, president of Cameroon, way. When animu ye onye, nanim tantan bema fun bi say onye. This year, this guy you are seeing here on your screen,
Onya 40 years in power as the president of Cameroon. This year na Onya the 40 years. Enti ofri Cameroon say oko Paris, France. Akodi ne 40 years in power anniversary. Ena Cameroon for omo parity no mo se there be we de ye ntena ha. Ema sebi mampenin kwasia pani we. Onyimi ewo Yuande Cameroon. Na onsa menyimi ewo eye Paris. Eno nti baby ana odi ni anniversary no emebnu kobo wura ho. E papai ne e wine sese ni cake sese nkonya skata ho ni ade yese e ka de ankeku no. Because when Yama, he can't even walk properly. What you say? Or 89 years of age. When Yama, he can't even walk properly. Ti eka denka yekuno. E mebruno bowra hono eka denka yekuno. Baby na ordin 40 years anniversary no. Cameroon for omo Paris. Eko bowra ho say omo mpene because 40 years onyeshi. 40 years, even the common capital, this guy has not been able to develop. And this is the nature of their capital, Yuande, in Cameroon, Yuande. Me say Ghana cry. Cameroon, the Ghana cry. Enti, you to know, eti yese, wa ba ho pe enom se kai da bi da akwade wai masa o se ye timi che no na ye brim no pa wai nyasa ye bu no ye brim no ye obo e de wo brim we ye brim no ye bora mo sha hu video eni
oui c'est bon
mo sha ka klari en toaso
oye asoya
Calibre, le vieux qui t'a grand-mère. Le vieux qui t'a grand-mère. Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Je veux m'attacher sur la porte. Vous ne pouvez pas. Vous ne faites pas. Ils sont là-bas.
Right. Enti Cameroon emebunu a omo eye Paris te say Biya eba Paris abedi ni 40 years anniversary penamo se there be omo ntena Paris emma kwasiampani Biya onyimi ewo Cameroon ensa menyimi ewo Paris ha enu nti emebunu ko bowura baby na odi sa anniversary no ena ye scatter hopper pani cake says ho nyina scatter ho nyina yesi e ka denka ye kuro eno dimrika se na ba odimrika ena ne body gas no e fa no mu ano she ka mu odimrika because he can't even walk properly tie so ni mu ye body to boy ena ba ye mu ano she ka mu ena away e ka de anke kuro because this guy has been the president for 40 good years. Look at the nature of Cameroon. You see, here the level of poverty in Cameroon doesn't exist in Ghana. I'm telling you the facts. May African traveler. So when I say something, believe me. The level of poverty and the level of corruption, any Jimmy, any Semhunwa Ekosu in Cameroon doesn't even happen in Ghana. But this so-called Biya has been the president for the past 40 years. And let me tell you something. On Shada Krapon Tina Cameroon, within a year, Obet me spending 9 months in Paris, France. Now I spending only 3 months in Biya Odine Hirina. Biya Onoya president, or spending only 3 months in Cameroon within a year. 9 months no or spending no abrochire Paris because ehona nebusuafo nyina egu ehona not dining Biya ni sika nyina egu enti 9 good months as a president. This guy spends it outside of the country because or say the weather in Cameroon doesn't favor the health. Tina make sure you African leaders, they deserve to die. African leaders, they deserve to be murdered in cold blood. And ko say ye chi omu na line omu na up nanki abomu na to nam ka bichira. Paul Biya say the 89-year-old president, Oluman Bugi president, ancestor president, or say the weather in Cameroon is not favorable to the health. It in 1 year, no, it means that spend 9 months in Paris or spending only 3 months in Cameroon, but he's the president. So he rules Cameroon from Paris. What he must say, pa. So the state house in Eye Yuande, no, where Kukuru Afri ho akosi Eye Paris because or ruling the country from the base in Paris. Sika Oriya nina or the call Paris. Medical services, everything this guy does in Paris. And the Paris government, the French government doesn't care because they benefit. Me say, the downfall of Africa is in the interest of the Western world. Africa for some mudi here, some penny for Jimmy ya. Say a common dimwa and a brofunu enya som faso. So just look at Francophone Africa. There is no rest. There is no peace. They are killing themselves. Every time they are civil war, coup d'etat. Look at Burkina Faso. Nanuya, they have had 2 coup d'etats in just 1 year. Why? Because they are still being controlled from Paris. They are still being dictated to by their colonial master. It is a Biya or puppet. You can stay for as long as you want in power. And the French people will support you because they benefit from your mediocrity. They benefit from your stupidity. It is in their interest. Because obetamu God ni na e their command is J. Obetam ni kura musika ni na e the akwa command is J. Obetam mo Japan ni na akotono fo ama abrofo ni say mo mpanimfo Jimia. It is in the interest of the Western world. And Paul Biya, Esan say this guy is a puppet. This ancestor president, no, Esan say oye puppet inti, oye puppet of eye parinti, where Timmy Eddie Cameroon minus over 40 good years and still enjoy support from France because this guy is a puppet. After 40 good years on Yashi, and he has the audacity, the effrontery to travel to Paris, say he's going there to celebrate the 40 years in power. Going to Paris to celebrate the 40 years in power. 40 years in power, no. A dear bad dinner what me a year. A dear boa Cameroon mino any. This is the nature of their capital city. After 40 good years in power. This is Yaoundé, Cameroon. We are live from Yaoundé, Cameroon. This is their capital city, Yaoundé, Cameroon. This is their capital. After 40 years that Paul Biya has been in office or power, this is the nature of their capital. Is somebody listening to me? Let us learn. Now, 40 years of Cameroon and I made the 40 years of UAE. This is the current look of United Arab Emirates, Dubai. After 50 years, Dubai it took them only 50 years to get to where I'm showing you. It took them only 50 years for the people of the UAE to get to where they are today. It took them only 50 years for them to grow. It took them only 50 years for them to solve their poverty. And mind you, they don't have any natural resources. So the only thing they can boast of is oil. They are able to supply water 365 days in a year, 24/7 non-stop. Now, Ghana, you have all the rivers, the Volta River, the Brim River, the Pra River, the Hwai River a basin there. Your so-called leaders can't even supply you with constant water or give you constant supply of water. After 50 years, this is the look of Dubai, where the African brother and sister will run away to go and do house pejuma, to go and do kwasia juma because nempeni for ya mwa ya kwasia for. Yeah. After 40 good years in power, this is the capital city of Cameroon, Yaoundé. Oh, Africa. Oh, Mother Africa, Africa. If you see the look of Africa, the nature of Africa, a continent full of so many potentials, name it. We got all the natural resources, we got all the oil, we got all the money, we got all the vegetation, we got all the shit, we got all the everything. But look at the nature of our dear continent, not because of anything, because the people that you guys elect into office are stupid. And funny enough, after all these 40 years, the military is there watching. 40 years of slavery, 40 years of a stupid old man being in power, destroying their future, destroying their nation. The military is there watching because most of the generals are under the umbrella. No, wa konka omo, wa bribe omo. Most of the military generals are in bed with Paul Biya. And no matter the situation, he still enjoys unprecedented support. Now, Sao Paul Biya we are making hwasem no otime pakisika in dollars. At the good plane mubaks akese be miensa no a shipping na Paris. And the French government will keep quiet because the guy is a puppet of France. The guy danced to the tune of France. Me say, every African leader that you know is a governor. We still don't have independence. So do not be deceived though. Emma Obi Nada will say, Africa, we have independence. We don't. Because a people who cannot feed themselves can never ever be fully independent. Because Adriani Amudien Ifri Abroche Neba. Your president, you see, African Rohu, Yacheyemu into Francophone Africa, Anglophone Africa, Portuguese Africa, Hawaiian Africa. Enti say, if you are under Francophone Africa, the president of France is your president. Now say, the person in your country now, moto abayi no, mo friend of president or your governor, will take instruction from the penny in Paris. The same thing applies to the Anglophone. It's like Ghana, money, Nigeria, money ade. Your president is the prime minister of UK. Your monarch is the queen of Britain. Not officially, where you're unofficial monarch. Because whether you like it or not, they are still controlling Africa indirectly. The African no matter the amount of insua obekwe gum enye madda because udi gum na esonifa asiye. Because all the African riches, all the African wealth anka ebetimi aboa ama yeyi ohia bro every Africa no yede nam pipe mu na eko fuel the Western world supporting the economies of the Western world. So today Europe, they are who they are today because of your resources, because of the stupidity of your leaders, because the African has refused to wake up from the slumber. After 40 good years in power, this is the nature or this is the look of Yaoundé, the capital city of Cameroon. Anyway, Bibini yeah bo blacks yeah bo papa. No wonder say Bibini to kwa abrochire na se onyan krata oto party say wenya abrochire krata obeto ho party. Oye Kristonia obeko asori dem akotua tithe ato offering adanyamiase because wenya abrochire krata because baby a ofri a oba no eye bonsam gem eye hell. So just imagine say after 40 years in power, This is the nature of their capital. So just imagine their towns, small towns and villages. Is somebody listening to me? Africa. Now let me take you back. On say, Paul Biya has been in power for the past 40 years. He has done, you see, he has done everything possible to kill opposition, to clinch onto power. Now, so Paris and Yehoshe, their colonial masters, France for Yehoshe, because he is there to serve their interest. Listen to me carefully. I don't know France for the French army. They have military base in every francophone Africa. It is oh, your president, I say, oh, your puppet, oh, Jimmy, oh, you say, oh, your Tunoa. They just call their military, they overthrow you. First of all, no, they will squeeze your economy because they are in hold of your economy. So they'll squeeze you to the point they say your people become hungry, become frustrated. Then they use what we call civil revolt. Then they come in and say, you went military aid, intervention, why not? They did the same thing to Kwame Nkrumah. This guy for the past 40 years, on CSA Cameroon, but French foreign into Nadiesu because he's serving their interest. But Kwame Nkrumah only about 7 years in power, or 8 or 9 years in power. Kwame Nkrumah only about 9 years or 8 or no, from 1957 to 1966. 9 years in power. Kwame Nkrumah only about 9 years in power. Yet because Kwame Nkrumah was serving the interests of Ghanaians, was serving the interests of Africans and not the colonial master. That is why Esan say, Menka say, Esan say, mon penny for wrong. And you're so power hungry. Now I'm be idea. They want to clinch on the power and they better be purpose and serve the interest of the Western world than to serve the interest of the people who voted them into office. Kwame Nkrumah, Esan say na on your puppet. Esan say, now all serving the interests of Ghanaians and Africans and not colonial masters in Tino. Only 9 years in power, so using the same Ghanaian people who are stupid. Kotukan kwa siafoni ade, yaya, and Kwame Nkrumah sue, akoko sue. Kwame Nkrumah sue, akoko sue. So ya, because he wasn't serving the interest of your colonial masters. He was rather serving your interest. They did the same thing to Muammar al-Gaddafi of Libya. Those days, the economy of Libya, those days, Libya ni de share. Benefits are now na America for crampu nyanisa. Gas was flowing through their pipes to their homes, like they have in the Western world. You don't have to take your cylinder to go and queue for gas, Debbie. Just be in your home and gas flows to your home in pipes. When you're 18 years, the government will give you an apartment to start life. Education was free in Libya. Healthcare was free in Libya. The Libyans were enjoying the best of life. And one thing a ginger the Western world, they say, Gaddafi wanted Africans to use one currency backed by gold. Tinameka choni ipa. Where is secret na me be any at Shemon. Gaddafi wanted Africans to use one currency which will be backed by gold. Ti abrafunu hu yepe no mo say no. Si etnase Emma Gaddafi or call ahead. It me create sad the enema Africa for Africans will finally become fully liberated. Because say Africa for the Omohua, they have everything. They will not need anything from us. They have the land. They have enough sunlight. They have enough fertile lands. They have enough rivers. They have enough vegetation. They have enough of everything, manpower, because the whole world, over continental youth, Africa. So they saw say Emma Muammar al-Gaddafi, or yes, Diana. The Western world will rather become puppets of Africa and not the other way around. So they began to, as usual, like they always do, ship in their propaganda, confuse the people, brainwash the people. Then they use some term, dictator, regime. If it has got to do with America, they say administration. Africa, their regime. The Gaddafi regime. Robert Mugabe regime. Kwame Nkrumah regime. Hwan regime. Now, so about America, the Joe Biden administration. The Clinton administration. Now, so about Africa, they call it regime. Dictator. Onye dictator. The tr0ubl onye human rights. They use those things to brainwash the people. So that if they come in, they will come in like saints, claiming to fight for your rights, claiming that they are coming to fight for your freedom. But behind closed doors, they are not coming to fight for your rights. So they are coming to fight for their interest. Ye Bora Libya yaya etu Gaddafi adieso ekunu yaya in cold blood, promising democracy and Libya. And the sound say, where is the democracy that they promised the Libyan people? Democracy, the way. Hey, democracy. Democracy is a tool of the West to control nations, because they can only change governments through democracy. It's easier to change a government through democracy than to change a government through autocracy. Because I don't think America can go and change government in North Korea. America cannot go and change government in China. But they can come and change government in Africa because of democracy. It's easier to fool a people than to tell them they have been fooled. In the name of democracy, Omampeni biya onye omo puppet. And I say, Omampeni biya untie omo asem no. They use democracy to get you out of power. Because senia Adolf Hitler can through democracy, any fool can rise to power. Democracy is the easiest way to confuse a people. It's the easiest way to manipulate a nation. And until they always come in sheep's clothing, they are wolves in sheep's clothing. Oh, democracy, freedom, and freedom. And each and every time, Africans buy into their senselessness, into their hoax, to their propaganda. Because the African refused to reason. The African has shut down the brain. The African has told himself, say, from time to the end of time, China obey Jimisa to the end of time. Therefore, history keeps repeating itself. And the African does nothing about it because Africans don't even have knowledge of their own history. Therefore, they don't even know who they are. Neither do they know where they are going. And they all say, Paul Kagame, CSA, Rwanda, and Abrofuna Shasiye. They are now beginning to refer to Paul Kagame as a dictator. Because CSA Rwanda, and they drew Rwanda na weniaji. Tiesan say, CSA Rwanda, now making sure say, Rwanda for have the best of life unti. I shall say target no dictator. It can go for like 10 years. The citizens to etrimu. Then they'll come and lie to you, showing some pictures on CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera. Almost saying human rights abuses and why not there and then no kunipa no say. Now they will, you see, they are good about a tr0ubl. Making people believe in lies, they are good. They have the art of doing so. Then they sell lies to the people. Now you're brainwashing your own citizens. Now you demonize you before your own people. And it is easier for them to enter, kill your president, and the people clap, say, thank you so much, America. Thank you so much, France. Thank you so much, Paris. Thank you so much for killing our leader because or a dictator. Said by who? By this same Western leaders, by these same slave masters. And each and every time, Africans help for them to achieve their aim and their dream, because the African doesn't want to wake up. The African is still in chains. The chains are no longer on your hands and your legs. So the chains are now tied to your brain, because you have refused to think out of the box. And African leaders always help their people to be brainwashed, because so if somebody can be in power for the past 40 years, that's a say now, name my etia, then why won't they help Americans to come and kick him out? So the African leaders always help the Western world to achieve whatever they want to achieve. Because give the African 40 years, give the African 50 years in power, they can do nothing, because they are wicked, they are greedy, they are selfish, they are nincompoops, they are criminals. Obviously, my sweet free mind, please consider not quoting Adolf Hitler. I'll quote Adolf Hitler each and every day. Or any part. Why? Adolf Hitler no any part. Onya boa. Your enemy is not my enemy. The enemies of the West is not my enemy. Ti Adolf Hitler oka asebina senyansa omua. I'll quote him today. I'll quote him tomorrow. Very simple. This guy has been in power for the past 40 years. Onyashi. Now what free Cameroon say or call a France, Paris. Akodi the 40th anniversary in power. Such a nincompoop. And this is why Africans are we are where we are. You see, this is why we are where we are. This is why we are not growing, we are not developing, because give the African 40 years, 50 years. They will never ever develop their nation. Because the African thing is say obenya edan wa abrochire, enya mansion ba ku mienu bi wa Africa ha, enya secretary die, akogu ne foreign accounts mo abrochire, etimi atoka asibi ni ade no. Eno na yehu ni say success. Eno na yehu ni say yaye bibi ama. Base yensiesie oman. Yen secure bibi ema dachi enchirima. Esan say ya dua say na sabi ya jimi na ye nim nyansa, most of us in tino. Abribiano, we rather take joy in the fact to say, oh, if you are butchery, we sikani o, eh, would jayo, not him sika or ebushia we de jay men for some musu, almost siko, unim cabinets or more, unim dead your war. We don't think of a dear body. And as I nip and why ye a money mine. We think of your selfish interest, what the person has been able to achieve for himself, not for the mind, not for the nation. So give the African the power of leadership. Give the African democracy. They'll use the same democracy to maltreat their own people, to kill their own people, to misbehave. Most of them. So they make the job easier for the Western world to manipulate. Because Mwakasa se mu Jimmy say ya. Akwasa Ghana. Shabra can say Yeman Penny Ekufuado. Shabra obon Ghana. It is a abrofunu ba beka se Ekufuado nye. It is Ghana for emwa ema yentu na dieswa. Ghanaians so listen. Because Ekufuado na ankasa no. Wama onu ankasa ni mono were looking useless before Ghanaians. Are you understanding the just more timasi ankasa? Are you guys understanding the matrix? The kind of fix that we find ourselves in. And nothing abribia make a say, if we fail to liberate the African mentally, Masa Opa Yankofa Joe Biden to be the president, and because the people are asleep. They don't know who they are, neither do they know where they are. We don't have any sense of direction. That and only sentence, we have no sense of direction. We are just gallivanting. We are just walking blah, blah, blah. Anyhow, left, right, center. That is why the whole world, every black nation is a poor nation. Every black nation is underdeveloped. Every black nation is a struggling nation. Every black nation is poor because the African don't know who he is. Africans are suffering everywhere. Go to Japan, they are suffering. Go to China, they are suffering. Go to America, they are suffering. Go to Europe, they are suffering. Africans are suffering everywhere. Even in Middle East, they are there suffering. Because the African, Adrena edani trimuno asay. Adrena edani trimuno enyeni padre abuaje. And uti yampani for to meet Jimmy. And we sit here and watch them. 40 years in power. Enti Sania Paul Biya Oko Paria Cameroonians in Paris. Sorry, no. I am expecting Ghanaians abroad to do the same thing to your penny for. E Kufuado so to kwai eba Paria. Mo sorry no. Se Kufuado o to kwai eba America for medical checkup. Mumo raho and sorry no papa ni so. Because you're penny for Jimmy. What these guys, what these heroes went to do. Ekwanya on fast so ye pan the free ho SS ni cake e papa nkonya SS Biya no me say ye penny for the bar bro chira meet them with the same fire. Because these guys are idiots. These guys are stupid. They better bank all your monies abroad. They better come for medical checkup abroad. Now so kolebu enwe ne sia on fa ho because ono ne ho ne mani ne busia for they don't access kolebu 37 on koho. You guys have got a role to play in this. Motia brochire samote se Ekufuado oforiata hwan aba brochire ebe sane ho yadea hold placards. Hold banners. Go and tell them away. Anya she crampono. Pa away. Pa away. We'll send a lasting message. They said this some time ago. Nigeria force penny be call us Paris ana. Nigeria force sorry tiano. Nigeria force sorry tiano. Ebura hona penny me se ekadenka ye kuno. But e basa anyoma Ghanaians are timid. Ghanaians are too and family home meaning if our home because of money they say no. Ghana belongs to all of us. Or money say if our home, if I'm home, if I now be home. It is a emrene so. Nas e was say me no me no sorry. Let us all wake up and help in the freedom fighting. Yem penny phone bar brochira. Mo amotia brochire meet them with fire. Yet how? Ena Mahama type or call London. And a Ghana for about dumping ho. And a Mahama is a thief. Mahama is a thief. Mahama is a thief. No problem. I'm not against it. So now if some Mahama a crown for and a muko jina ho friend of crown for ne kwanso no. Now so Ekufuado Ekufuado mreso e de ba ade na moye. Ekufuado is equally a thief. Even worse than Mahama. Now so ne mreso e de ba ade na moye. Because Obi Adreba they say enfame ho enye masem me dey me sorry me come adwuma enfame ho efa ho me ni aba me ni aba ma efa ho ye Ghana ni forget about your passport o ukra American passport kra o birthplace say Ghana you can hold your German passport American passport why passport o birthplace say Ghana. There is no place like home. Se motina brochire ye madwen se emfa ho because sorry okwa adwuma unya pizza bidi unya burger bidi to free say enoa ne abrabo a dwen kwa kire dwen na kwa kire because we are say enya ye nyina e na ye betimi akọ abrochire ana say akọkọtena kwasi bro ne krom ite se wo wanya sa akonya na think of those who are at home because we are there ufri Ghana is your roots. Sanya abrofo esiesi omukro no me no mie no sesabi ye enwe ana ye enwe ni bisa wo ye enwe ye moa ya ponche ye nwan ye nipa. Are we not human beings? It is a brony atimi esiesi ni kro say ya when na bibini timi nye metwe wa mentiase. Can't we do this? I question Statement or sergeant for doctor. Kwame Nkrumah can say the black man is capable of managing his own affairs. And Tom Biya, I begin to doubt. Kwame Nkrumah and I said, no, Charlie, a people who are capable of managing their own affairs will never ever behave in this way and manner. They will never ever play their stupidity to this level. But here we are. Yama yen inti why? Na Ghana fa mo abrochire momwa yen. Why? Yekasa momwa yen. Ni ayeye momwa yen. Through democracy, any idiot can rise to power. It is a yebon penifo na chia. Don't defend them. Penny no say onye ni enya yen kan ho asem. What you say pa? And penifo no, they are not demigods. They are not bigger than you. In fact, in the wrong sense, you the Ghanaian, you are bigger than a Kufuado. Because without you, a Kufuado, Nanado is a nobody. Without you, on your Biya, it's ye kamukra to me na a yamoa. Because mona motu abeyi a Kufuado. It's say Ghana yamu DNT. You placed an advert, say there is a vacancy for a president. And Akufo-Addo came to apply. And you gave Akufo-Addo the job. So you are the employer. Akufo-Addo is the employee. There is a need for each and every Ghanaian. So free northern region. Oya Kani, Ofri Volta, Ofri Krimemu, Baby Biya, Ofri Biano. The time has come for us to put our differences, our tribal stupidity aside. And see each other as one. Say, oh my Ghana, say, yeah, ye nadie pre. Let me take you back to Yawande, Cameroon. After 40 good years in power, this is the current state of Yawande. This is their capital city. After 40 good years in power, after 40 years in power. Africa is a dead land, I'm telling you. Africans, we are gone. We are gone. We are gone. We are gone. Obi say, Kwame Nkrumah made a mistake by not treating us fools and training us from fools to be wise. We need to be trained. I'm telling you the fact. We need a total overhaul of the mindset of the African. Because to date, if you can still see an African bleaching to look like a white man, because now Jimono, the standard of beauty is a fair color. It tells you, say, we are still mentally enslaved and stupid to the core. Say, nature, in its own wisdom, placed you in Africa. Now, nature soon him say, Africa, hana, or diwato hano, a rianabo hanodo, enunti, ubehia, a natural sunscreen, enunti or mount enough melanin to protect your skin against the UV rays of the sun. Now, so it's a brainwash. Now, broni, ama bibini, adri, they say the standard for beauty, a fair color. Bibini people to include say, or they say the color just to look like a white person because you're brainwashing. You're brainwashing now, with Jimmy or not Jimmy. So, if you see Africans buying creams and lotions to change their color, it tells you, say, the African is lost. The African doesn't know who he is. In the days of old, na sabina yenyimi sao. Na minya na yenyimi sao. Our ancestors understood nature to a certain level. We were living by Ubuntu. We are because nature is. And notice Samre na yemfa galamse sayen so ni ensase. Samre no ne sabim previous and ne ebidum kraka se na eye bagimimbre no. Samre na yenyimi sei se enei so called an ibiaba. Tieneno we call some people civilized world. Africans they are nobody. But forgetting the fact is say civilization kasa everybody is civilized. Sabi Otie kura you are civilized because civilization is simply the way of life of a people. How a people evolved and no name was civilization. Now so that you're brainwashing you to see the Western civilization as a standard. It is a own westernized that there's a own kahon. Tina Ghana need to kwa just US for just 1 month now or select Canberra for because not Jenny say for you to be included, you must become westernized. The Western culture, the Western civilization has become the standard. We have destroyed everything that we have, everything that defines we as a people. Yes, sir. Yeah, Bobo. Yes, yeah, dear. Why? There is more to life than what we know. There is more to history than what we have been told. Tina Mekachoni may say there is more to life than what we know. There is more to our history than what we have been told or what we have come to read. Yensua de enko asie. Yensua de enko animu. Ye ni pao sebi. Yenya mboa. Se broni ba yempona broni hu ye say ye mboa. Yemprovi abrofo ne wrong say yenya mboa yensu ye nipa. Ade abroni betimi aye bibini so betimi aye amana ye. Ukwa abrochira. You find blacks who are also doing exceedingly well. Their color is of my color. They look the same as you and I. So if they can do it, why can't you and I? Now ye boy ye one bro, Jimmy ye whole Africa hasa, ye Biya basa. We don't scatter everything for downtown. So the African better cross the desert and go and be a house help in Saudi Arabia than to live in Ghana, because you are making Ghana a living hell. And so shame waka Ghana is heaven. Omaya, you have everything. Area so for so. In so name it. You have everything. Name it. That's all I one because you're penning for like a foresight. You're penning for Nim Nyansa. You're penning for Jimmy. A word to the wise is enough. Right. Messers and more brooches. Say, I'm penning for the bar, most sorry tia or aha, you're penning for the bar, most sorry tia or more. Why? Most sorry tia or more. After 40 years in office, this is the look of a year one day. It is a yan chedi ya dream. Wow, Minia, we will never ever progress, especially about these 3 areas. Shemanimi ye chedi ya dream when it comes to number 1, politics. Say, we NDC ni, na se we NPP ni ya, ye nya tamfo. Ni ayen tu ni na ye penny say, gara betumpo, enti say, wa ban kraba aban mu, and I say, o party ba aban mu. Na se nyoma omo ye no, emwa Ghana mpuntu a, put your feelings aside and voice it out. Yen change ya dwen. Tribalism, emfaso ni so, yen fanton chen. Ofri ha, why say e jimie yen fanton chen. Eba religion so a yen change ya dwen, yen ti ase se. Nyame bie ni wa so be problem manipa. There is no God who solve inflation, because God no onye Bank of Ghana governor. God no onye Juma ewo IMF. God no onye president. God no monto aba enyi no. Enti sa God no will not solve your problem for you. Enuti na muyi mpanimfo. Say sa mpanimfo no eme yusu tumi na amode ama omo no emfa solve mo problem. Enti na se mpanimfo na ba na se omo so jimi a ema yanso ma sofo, let us go to the streets and mount excessive pressure on them. Number 3, ye himfo eno kra de me hu so mfa so mpo. Se si aya ye ka say Ghana himfo emfa so bia ni omo so, because they are doing nothing. They are doing nothing. Yen so crap no, they can protect it. Yen sa se no, they can protect it. It is so called himfo otumfo ne togbiya fede ne ye fra mo say gamanche ene papa watamo ni ade achem hini achem ebuakwa hini amoto for penny ene nananom ne all the goddamn nom so no emfa so bia ni omo so, emfa so bia ni omo so. Ti so mo jimi na say ye bo mo achi a mo waye omo jimi na say ye kan support us. Isaac Benasco say, Freeman, why don't you accept the Western civilization as the best? Just imagine what you have just shown us from. This one has got nothing to do with Western civilization. Why? It is not the best to be The fact is, we are passing through problem doesn't mean the Western civilization is the best. They also have bad leaders. What you say? They also have stupid leaders. But the point is, the majority who are wise, and at last time I catch them will say, they are able to create a system in such a way, say, even if you are stupid, you are kept under check. What must say, Rwanda for a year. Rwanda, they are doing it. They have not gone to adapt any westernization or whatever, but they are doing it. And it's like Rwanda for to me, yeah, we can all be able to do it. The answer the issue. Now, am I say because say, yet me yentino. Westernization is the best way to go, Debbie. Because if we end up losing every space in our culture, we are doomed forever. Don't think you can go and be westernized and be a royal in the white man's country. It will never happen. Because he who throw away his own culture and adopt the culture of another race becomes a slave to that race. What must say, pa? Young force and penny for why? That's the best way to go. It doesn't justify the fact to say westernization is the best way to go. It will do nothing. Because the beneath me free Ghana kwa broche kwa tana broche ka arrange can brofa hold one ade or test sebi bob bona sumni ade drop tattoo gu ni say na ni artist still our Jimmy. Ana me boa. Ye nua no mo etete abrochire obi o ha ore brofo tattoo ade gugu ni ho o hye jeans bi or ye westernized now so still our Jimmy. So westernization is not the measure of wisdom or intelligence. Where Jimmy unim nyansa so unim nyansa. Sabe mpredua Ghana ha krapo no Kwame Nkrumah was not westernized, though he schooled abroad. Now, so he still respected the Ghanaian culture. But no him nyansa, anameboa. No him nyansa. Oka Malaysia money are there. They are not westernized. They are living by their own culture, but they are still growing. They are still they are still moving forward. So we can do the same thing within our own cultures. We don't need to copy the white man blindly to follow everything before we be able to progress. You see, any idea may come into your nation so. Why? Civilization, we were civilized before they came. Sabi na Bruni ba Africa na ye nyambua. Why? Let us not look too down on ourselves. Jimmy dear Jimmy, and not make us yensu nyansa. By Jimmy ntre say, adia Bruni ye bia na ye, debi. Enutra sabe kasa, you see, I tell you guys say yensu brofono. Adia broni ya ye free say ebua ma broni tumpo no yensua ne abroni ya emwa yenso yentungu ukro ya also yen follow white man's culture. But when the issues of gayism is mentioned, you go gaga. So also ye ni abrofo achi dia and ye abrofo say muni mutrumu e dia na mo so amote Ghana kamunie on say broni ka tell say di utrumu no wo so atrate wo say no trimudie no emwa wo enti sanete enti ni abroni ya eya no yan copy ni abroni ya emwa ya no yan tungu. Very simple. Let us not copy everything blindly. We cannot do copy and paste. Say unya hu ya abroni ya tina bam. You see, that is why the black man prefers an imported rice to yankasa ye locally grown rice, because we copy and paste anyhow anything from the Western world. We have seen the Western world to say a standard of everything. Ediania omo dia na ye bibia there be and sanity. It's not like that. It's not like that. See, ye presi abrofo na yanka say ni abroni ye bia na ye there be. But at least omo you so mo adwen ama omo man no etimi etompon a yensua bibi mfiri omo ho. Yensua bibi ne nche say omo udi omo to a yensua enko na ye nkogodi yeto. What you say? Broni di ne to a usua ne nche say osukodi uto. There be. You so adwen eto die ebegboa wa na ebegboa wa no adi emboa so anu ejai obi afrosi obi. What you say ba? Because yeah, despite everything, Mijitu say there are certain aspects of your culture, but there are certain aspects in SOA, they make sense. They say the way we used to marry. So Bisamia, they made more sense than a white man's way of marriage. Ubisamia, your way of marriage, your marriage system, they made more sense than kwasi bronia warrior in the church. Entinya Biya na broni ya na young copy. Nya broni ya e ya no young copy ni ensua. Nya o ya emwa yensua ntumu. Na yenso yem modify ye de no. Indians are not westernized, but they are still growing. Anamibwa. So adopting somebody's culture doesn't mean say you are going to progress, Debbie. And by being smart, and by being intelligent, and by using your brain, thinking out of the box. Look at your situation, look at your problems, and sit down and think how best you can solve them in your own way. That is what will make you a great people, not by copying blindly. It will make us more stupid. See? Obi say, Dubai is not westernized. You guys watch too much of CNN and BBC. They are brainwashing you. Westernization doesn't mean contribute to and I say whatever they be. Oko Japan, they are not westernized. Indians are not westernized. Malaysians are not westernized. Chinese are not westernized. But today, China is the second largest economy in the world. They are not westernized. It means westernization is the measure of progress. And I say, "Enona ebet me abuama Ghana for tumpon." There be menuya masa you are free so masa. You are drink free or men sir. You see adu enyimi men sa kra masa. Emo bi na adam masa na ni BBC for na adam masa. Prince Adam say even our African traditional marriage is gone due to copying. Yeah, we copy and paste everything. We copy and you see that is the BBN problem. We copy and paste everything. Anything the white man is doing, you wouldn't say no cry good. Ne bibiani de chere. And not broni the Bible bre ya mo chere kran kan antiasie. You saw Bible mu pen the neche bibini Jimmy o Jimmy using the Bible. So let us not copy and paste blindly. What you say? We can also become great in our own cultures. Your culture no sabi enya demons o. Enya boni o. Enya babiana sabi prediasa. Not every aspect of our culture is bogus. There are certain aspects I accept to say we need to modernize, and there are certain aspects we must uphold. What must you say? Enti emobi nada. Why? Or say beliefs that don't make sense is respect for elderly, no matter the circumstances. Honoring traditional rulers and Christianity. Yeah. These are the issues that we must, see to. This was meant to be a short video, but as usual, I come no bar, and Paul Biya, Wako Paris, he was nearly killed because after 40 years in power, Cameroon still remains the same. Cameroon is one of the poorest African countries. This guy, 40 years, has not been able to achieve anything. Osaka of France said, "Kwako di 40 years anniversary." Because Siampeni, we cry because see bonny to okuno. And Tebusi Amidamu in Amasim Rimbesia. This guy, what's the name? Kojo say Bando or say JJ Rollins said it's best. Modernization is not westernized. Thank you. Modernization is not westernization. Oko Japan, they are modernized. They are not westernized. What you must say, China, they are modernized. They are not westernized. Westernization is somebody's way of life. Also out there. To the near brony yebia near there be. Some say near brony yebia na yen near trade and you may say abrofu di omoto entimusu muni moto. Now so you can't want some a hokra de bon peti e because modern chemo say in your own culture you need to. Eto die e jimie fa so bia ni so it is a brony di ni to a ye die ye ni eto. So we can modernize, but we must not westernize. What you say pa? Huh? Oshaya airport ya tro akwaba anamebwa eno ne modernized akwaba Kotoka airport ya tro akwaba modernized Senka a westernizer, and ka yebetron war camp, and only a westernized. So we can modernize in our own cultures, in our own languages, within our own abilities, we can modernize. See the thing? Felicia Bio say, one bad aspect of our culture is respect for, okay, thank you. I think say that's the same repeated comment. Val Life School so say ASMO and SMP. Could you say, okay, who else? Yeah, Prince Adam, okay. All right. Tiabusia, Medamu Namase. Orleans Augustine say it's very, very true, Mr. Freeman. Thank you so much. Abusco Ali. Yes, bro. You are saying it all. Thank you. Why be? All right. Amanda Suman. Okay. Teacher Ale, Mami Famusi Yawa. Yes, you are there, Kakra. No. We've all got to liberate our minds. You see, we've all got to liberate our minds. The bottom line of the whole thing is see, I'm penning for Jimia. Let us learn to rise against them. See, let us learn to protest. Let us learn to demonstrate. Let us learn civil revolt. Let us learn to speak the truth to power. Forget about your tribe. It doesn't put food on the table. It doesn't solve inflation. Let us look at the issues and address the issues from there. You know what I'm saying? Mami Famusi ya. Send them in the chairman Freeman. I make I was a right phone I could play so. Not only the confirmed drop any OGB ride. Here taxi applications are and I say sorry, online taxi services are these applications will help you. So na be onantiano ebetimi aye chap. Very simple. Debusia for Mami Famusi ya. Send them in no. Meeting at the chairman free mind. Macram. Right. Yanko.
Hi, good people. So let me introduce to you the new app and service in town. It is the OGB Ride. If you're thinking a private car to any destination, OGB Ride is the new app. Well, for your comfort, for your security. Now, there are categories like the comfort ride, the taxi ride, and the luxury ride. Now, you want to download the app today. Patronized, made in Ghana. It is by the people, for the people. If you're thinking development and jobs for young people, OGB Ride is the thing. This is our own. So download the app today and you won't regret it. OGB Ride.